What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the economic calendar approaching tomorrow, why tomorrow is going to be a very important day for Tesla and the market, so what you should be watching for as time progresses. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total. And the offer ends in just about 9 days from now. Anyways, for Tesla, we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure that is developing. And there is more upside potential, in my personal opinion, looking at technicals. Now, yes, Tesla will likely attempt to push higher with the market for tomorrow, looking at technicals alone. But whether or not this move continues past tomorrow depends on earnings. And whenever Tesla announces, it will have a big effect on the share price. So I want to talk a little bit about that first before I break down what's happening with the share price. Just know that tomorrow is going to be a very important day for earnings. Before the market opens, we have Spotify, UPS, GM, and then Coca-Cola announcing their earnings. Coca-Cola is going to be one of the biggest ones, at least before the market opens. Then after close, we have Tesla, Alphabet/Google, and then Visa announcing their earnings too. Tesla is going to be a big one. When Tesla makes their announcements, we're going to see the share price go absolutely parabolic. I can't wait to see what Elon Musk and the team ends up saying. So one thing worth noting about Elon Musk is he made some important announcements today, so we might get some updates about Optimus. That's one thing that he was talking about today. I just want to call this out. I made another video about this. I'm not going to go into the full details right now, but just know that for Optimus, Elon Musk is saying that basically for next year, we should be expecting them to have these robots working in the Gigafactory. And then by 2026, Tesla should be basically starting high production of them once they have new developments coming out for AI. So they're going to be looking at new systems to be developed once these AIs are capable of doing tasks that are very useful. And Musk is very confident it's going to be happening. So he might be talking about this tomorrow, not to mention FSD and the robotaxi and a bunch of other things. Now, I'm seeing some headlines coming out that many investors are bullish, despite the fact that we're looking at an expected earnings decline, and also some things about Elon Musk. I'm seeing a lot of hype, a lot of talk about this. Let me just mention to everyone, do not worry about what the mainstream media says, okay? They were telling us that Tesla's deliveries would be very, very poor this quarter. Tesla's at a big decline. The share price is going to crash. No, the share price has been running quite a bit. And you guys could see that this is what's been going on for quite some time. This is what I've been talking about for quite some time too. On top of that, you have to remember that they tend to get their clicks off views. They tend to try to clickbait people and do things like that. It does not matter. What matters is what the numbers give us. Just focus on that and don't worry about what these sources are saying. They told us that Tesla would have bad deliveries. They ended up doing very well with deliveries the last time they came out. So we'll see how things go. On top of this, this is what you should be looking out for earnings. Tesla's going to also make the most important announcements about the robotaxi event. So this was originally supposed to happen next month, right, according to Elon Musk. But then, because of some design changes that Musk requested, it's been delayed for quite some time, possibly until October. We don't know the official confirmation for when this is basically delayed until, excuse me. That's going to be very important. Musk is going to give us more updates about this. We're going to be listening to what they say about the robotaxi. That's going to be huge for Tesla. I can't wait to see. And that's what investors are looking for. For data specifically, we're actually going to be looking for an EPS of about 62 cents per share. It's a bit of a decline compared to before. And then revenue at about $24.77 billion. I believe that the energy storage sector is going to make a bigger part of that revenue. I can't wait to see what Tesla ends up giving us. Energy storage is going to be very important, not to mention Musk's political stance. He might say some things about politics. He's going to kind of reiterate the fact that Tesla's not dependent on subsidies. I wouldn't be surprised if Musk tries to hype AI all over again. So this could actually be very positive for the share price. If he starts talking about the robotaxi, if he starts talking about Tesla's capabilities and big announcements, that could be very, very big as well. I can't wait to see what Tesla announces, so get ready for that. On top of all this, I just wanted to mention that for tomorrow, for the overall market, okay, we actually have some data coming out at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the Richmond Fed manufacturing shipments, and services data all coming out. So watch and see some volatility at 10 a.m. At 11:30 a.m., we have the 42-day bill auction also coming out, not to mention more data later on, but it's all kind of minor, so it might not cause anything too crazy. But I just wanted to call this out just to give you guys some updates on what's going on and how things are looking in my personal opinion. On top of all of this, don't forget that Verizon announced their earnings for today. This is the biggest one of the day. Just want to talk about this briefly. Basically, they missed on their quarterly revenue at about $32.8 billion below expectations. They also ended up announcing about 148,000 net monthly bill paying wireless phone subscribers, which is not bad whatsoever. For more news, just know that right now the market's seen a little bit of a shift. We're starting to see greed return to the markets as buyers stepped in. I called this out yesterday. I said the market should see a little rebound. I wasn't sure of the full extent of that. There was news that came out about President Joe Biden. He basically ended up dropping out of the presidential race for 2024. Completely understandable. I wish everyone the best, from him to Kamala Harris and also former President Trump. I just wish everyone the best. We all want peace here, and I think that Biden made the right move. So with that happening, okay, the market priced that in. That wasn't necessarily a surprise. We were seeing so much talk about that last week from different officials, from other politicians. And now that the news came out, the market is still seeing a positive response and the buyers are stepping in all over again. So greed is making up sentiments. Momentum is still very greedy as we're now once again still rebounding and holding well above our 125 daily moving average. And then one thing worth noting is that there's still more shorting going on. We'll see if this continues or not. So far, the market's holding up. We're about to be approaching some tough resistance. The 5-day average for put to calls is still going up, and volatility is kind of dipping a little bit. The reason for that is because the market is rebounding and the VIX is rejecting just a bit. We'll see if that continues. Right now, there are some bearish signals for it I'll talk about. Morgan Stanley gave Tesla an overweight rating. Barclays gave them an equal weight rating, and then we're seeing some shifts. We also have the price-price ratio going up a little bit higher. So this is once again a little bit of a shift. And we tend to see more volatility around 10 o'clock a.m., not to mention the second to last hour of the day. Also, when it comes to seasonality, we tend to see more volatility around Mondays and Tuesdays. So don't forget about that. Tuesdays tend to be green only about 51% of the time. So we'll see how that shifts. The rest of this, I'm not really too worried about because what matters the most is going to be Tesla's earnings. Volume is at 100 million, might go up tomorrow. We're going to be seeing a lot of volume. So I can't wait to see what Tesla shows us. With that being said, that's it for data. I'm going to throw all the data aside and I'll just focus on the charts. What do I see for Tesla moving forward? Well, honestly, guys, from a technical standpoint, okay, we look bullish. Okay, as long as we hold above 248 or 50 EMA, this is favoring upside, and it looks like we have some imbalances to fill up above. So that's important because with these imbalances, we're going to likely continue to see a very, very nice looking push. So I think, and I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to push higher. Is it possible for us to kind of decline to reach this 248 and then bounce? Yes, it is, or we could just go from here. But we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure, and this is favoring a push for about 256, if not us getting closer to 260. There might be some buyers stepping in right before earnings, as there's going to be a lot of hype, a lot of excitement. And you have to note that if you look at the 4-hour time frame on Tesla, we're turning back to bullish. This looks very bullish. It favors the upside for tomorrow. So watch and see. There could be a 2 to 3 point little decline in the pre-market, then a continuation higher, or we could just start squeezing to 260 from here. The share price looks bullish in my personal opinion. It's favoring upside right now. And what else is worth noting is that SPY has a very similar setup. We're looking bullish with an inverse head and shoulders like setup. This does favor upside, but we have to break past our 200 EMA, excuse me, on the 30 minutes time frame. Whoops, I'm looking for the 30 minutes time frame. So on SPY, and I'm going to talk about SPX and others in just a minute, but look at our 200 EMA at 555.3. If that breaks, we're going all the way up towards this imbalance at 558. If we lose 552.8, we could be tipping all the way down to 550.5. If that fails us, we have 548 coming next. This chart is favoring that it wants to actually fight 555 and breakouts to 558 plus. So it looks more bullish with the inverse head and shoulders, but just to be safe, we'll watch for confirmation. I also say this because of the fact that ES has the same setup, testing 56.13 as resistance. If that breaks, we'll be looking for a push to at least 56.40. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders. Looks bullish to me. For SPX, there's an inverse head and shoulders right here as well. As long as we hold above our 200 EMA, we could be pushing up to this imbalance towards 55.90, like very close to 5600. And then if that breaks, our next target is all the way up here. So it does favor upside. SPX is favoring it. ES is doing it. So is SPY. But we have to break some key resistance just for confirmation. So on SPY, don't forget about that 55.30 area. If we 555.3 area, excuse me, guys, then we will be pushing higher. Nvda has a bullish setup. We have a nice inverse head and shoulders. We have a gap to fill up here, and we also broke structure right over here around this 122 area. This chart is favoring a push for at least 126 tomorrow, so it looks more bullish to me. If we lose 121, we could dip back down, but this is favoring upside in my personal opinion. For Bitcoin, there's a nice uptrend right over here. We're actually holding above our key moving averages, so look for 68,000. I favor upside, so I think that with this uptrend, we may continue on Bitcoin, so long as we're above 66,000. We have a range between 66 and 68,000, but this is favoring upside, so watch for that as well. For a few more, we have NQ, Nice inverse head and shoulders like structure if we break past 20,000, which happens to be where the 200 EMA is. 20,000 is a psychological level 2. Break that, and we're going all the way up to about 20,150. It favors upside if we break that. If we lose 19,900, we turn back down. We'll be looking for a move all the way down to the 19,800 area, then below that. But this is favoring upside in my personal opinion. The QQQ is also favoring upside. If we continue, we have to look for a test of 485. If that breaks, we're going all the way up to about 495 plus. If we fail to break this resistance right here at 485, then I'll be looking for once again a rejection. So look for a test of 485 tomorrow. If we break that, we're going all the way up to 495. If we reject and we end up losing, 480 will turn back down, but this is favoring upside and a test of 485. For Aapl is trading sideways in this range right here. It's a little bit of weakness. I'll be looking for a dip all the way down to about 222. Look at resistance at 225. It is possible we kind of pop in and drop lower, but I think we're just range bound. We're just going to trade sideways. It's not really doing much in my opinion. Apple's a little bit lackluster. For Palantir, we have an interesting looking setup. We're actually very, very choppy, very sideways, so I'm not really seeing much going on so far. So just wanted to call that out. There's not really much of a shift, so just be very patient with this. Look at this resistance at 29, support at 28. I think we're just going to trade sideways. I think we're just going to continue to remain range bound as we've been doing that for quite some time. So watch that just to be safe. On top of all of this, I just wanted to mention that there's other changes right over here. We also have Supermicro coming out. Supermicro, in my personal opinion, is on a bit of a downtrend. When you look at the 4-hour time frame, okay, the 4-hour is looking a little bit more bearish. We have a nice little downtrend right over here. We could be dipping lower. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if we retest 800 and continue lower, but I think we might be making our way back down to about 750. There's a nice double top. It looks kind of weak, so it favors the downside. On the other hand, we also have Rivian. Rivian, in my personal opinion, is also on a bit of a downtrend. The 4-hour is looking kind of weak. Look at support at 17.02. If we lose that, we'll be dipping all the way down towards 16.5. If we hold this, we could try to rebound and push up higher for 18, but my gut tells me it's going to be dipping down to 16.5 before anything else. So watch to see if we bounce off that or not. For SoFi is also kind of trading sideways around this 7.5 area. If we break out, I'll be looking for basically 7.8, and if we lose support, we'll be dipping all the way down towards 7.2. This sideways price action favors just not really much, so I think we may just continue on this trend for quite some time, and we'll see what kind of reaction we get. But just know that we're trading sideways on SoFi. It might just, if we lose 7.5, I'll be looking for 7.2, but there's not much going on with it. It's kind of choppy. The IWM is holding above its 20 EMA very nicely. We're going to be looking for 222. It's very, very interesting. I think that there's a good chance it pushes all the way up there, and I think it's favoring upside for a nice push. If we were to lose 218, I would turn back to bearish, but I'm not favoring that. It still looks more bullish to me. So on top of this, guys, I wanted to talk about AMD. If we lose 150, I turn bearish, but this is favoring a push for 160.31, or maybe a little bit lower than that, because this EMA is very, very bearish. It's on a bit of a downtrend. So this tells me that maybe 158 to 160 should be coming very soon. I favor upside on AMD. For ARM, we're kind of rejecting off our key EMAs. We're kind of struggling to break through them, so make sure you watch them very carefully. If we reject off our 20 EMA, we'll be dipping all the way down towards 160. If we break past 166, I'll be looking for higher levels. I think it's going to dip all the way down to 160, and we'll see if we get a bounce or not, but watch that very, very carefully. For Coinbase, we are looking more bullish because when you look at this, we have a nice double bottom like structure forming a big W and a nice accumulation right here. So this double bottom favors 270 to 272 that's coming. Coinbase looks more bullish to me. If we end up losing 260, I'll be looking for 257. By the way, in case we do turn bearish, I don't favor that. It looks like a 270 plus is coming. Amazon's in the middle, completely in the middle right now. It's looking a little bit more bullish on the 4 hours, so it looks like it wants to be testing 186 at least. But just to be safe, let me call out this. The 4 hours looking pretty good, and we have an inverse head and shoulders. So this is favoring 185. If that breaks, this imbalance will fill towards 188. So I think that there is upside potential off this inverse head and shoulders. It favors upside if we could break past 185. 186 is coming in 188. I favor upside a little bit more, but if we hypothetically lose 180, I turn back to bearish. So far, this is favoring the upside. Meta is looking more bullish. It looks like it wants to be testing its 200 EMA. If we break past 490, look for 495. If we lose 482, there's going to be a big rug pull all the way down to 476. But this chart, in my opinion, is favoring upside as well. So upside is still looking prominent. It's looking more imminent, and it favors upside. So that's going to be very, very key for how we end up continuing to move. So I'll be watching this very, very carefully, at least for the time being. On top of all of this, I want to mention that for others out there, we have Microsoft. Microsoft is also trying to look more bullish, has a nice inverse head and shoulders accumulation. So this is favoring a push all the way up to about 448. So this looks more bullish to me. I think that this is favoring more upside, and I could be looking for 448, but we have to see if this accumulation structure continues. So watch for that very carefully. For Google, Google has a nice inverse, a double bottom. There are two possibilities. It might come down a bit to retest 182.5, then continue higher and start breaking out, or we just start breaking out from here. Look for a test of 184.67. If we break that, we're going all the way up to at least 186.5, around there. I think we're going to be grabbing liquidity up here. So I think if we break past 184.67, we're going to be pushing up higher, and I favor that a little bit more. Now, this is looking more bullish to me. But just remember that just like Tesla, Google/Alphabet also has its earnings coming out. So we have to be very patient with that as well. A lot of people are talking about AMC and GameStop, so I'm going to give you guys a quick update on these. GameStop is not looking that great, kind of rejecting off its EMAs. I'm going to be looking for some liquidity to be grabbed around 24.8 before we try to rebound again. So look for a little bit of a retracement before anything else. We can actually use our Fibonacci retracement tool just for more confirmation. I'll be watching a little rejection right here. I wouldn't be surprised if you retrace a bit. Once again, towards the 0.618 retracement right here. A little bit of a dip and a bounce is very probable, so watch for that. AMC is going to follow the trend. I think we have this gap to fill towards 5.13. Look for a little bit of a dip and then a bounce after that as well. DJT also has a big gap to fill all the way down here towards 31. If you look at the structure, it's been downtrending ever since that big pump that happened after the tragic news we got last week. So I favor this little gap fill down here. I'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. So that's going to be very, very important. Watch for that very, very carefully. And then for the VIX is likely going to continue to dip. It looks like it's going to be testing 13.9, the 200 EMA. So watch for that. The 10-year is also trading kind of sideways. If we break past 4.28, we could push higher. It doesn't really matter. The 10-year is not really affecting the market like how it used to. But there is one thing worth mentioning, that's the dollar index. I want to be very careful with the dollar. The reason for that is because there's a possible inverse head and shoulders. So is it possible we have a double top right here? So like right here, there's like a double top that's forming, right? Does this mean that the market might dip a little bit because the market's going to push higher? But then is the market about to get a big rejection if this is an inverse head and shoulders? What if that's what this is showing? I'm a little bit apprehensive. So are we about to see a little rejection like this? Does that mean the market's going to push higher? But then the market pumping is not going to last forever if the dollar gets a bounce like this and this is an inverse head and shoulders. I don't know for sure, guys. I'm just going to call this out. For now, we'll just take this one move at a time. Might be a little bit of a dip coming just temporarily all the way down to about the 104 area. Then we'll see if there's a bounce or not. So I'm going to be very, very patient. With that being said, as far as Tesla goes, Tesla is once again holding it very nicely. I do anticipate some upside. Okay, I think it's going to push higher, but just remember what we see tomorrow when the market's open does not matter as much until we see earnings, and that's when Elon Musk is going to give us some big announcements. If Elon Musk pumps AI news again, Tesla stock could explode. We'll see if that ends up being the case. He does love to do that. There's a good chance he's going to do that, so I can't wait to see. I think that it's going to be very, very interesting to watch. Remember, guys, that companies like Nvda, like Apple, like Amazon, they got their AI pumps. Tesla's still getting it. I wouldn't necessarily say Tesla's done yet, and there is more potential for it with this earnings. So get ready for earnings tomorrow after the market closes. It's going to be an absolutely massive day. I can't wait to see what Tesla announces, and I'll see you guys very, very soon on the next one. Thank you for listening, guys. Tesla to the moon, because the long term is still incredibly bright. I'll be talking more about Tesla tomorrow before the market opens alongside the whole markets, and we'll see how things end up going. With that being said, I think that it's very important to do what's best for your own portfolios. So I want to wish you all the best when it comes to trading Tesla. If you guys want to or not through earnings, that's your choice. So stay strong, guys. Remain disciplined, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Have a great day. Enjoy your nights, your evenings, your days, wherever you are around the world. And I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you, and peace out.